Yeah. Meme Wars back after a couple of weeks layoff. Although John still not here, celebrating 10 years of being happily married. That's the Odor Mat promise. That's the promise you make when you marry an Odor Mat. 10 years minimum or your money back. But fortunately, I'm here with a buddy, a fellow podcaster with Kill Pod, and also Libertarian Podcast Review, the worst name in libertarian podcasting, Tyler Janke.
Yes. By the way, I've been married. I'm on my second marriage. It'll be my last, and I have 10 years under two belts. So
damn, wow, that's impressive. That's like when you do karate, when you get like the black belt, when you keep putting the red notches on it. I don't know if you were ever a martial artist, but trust me, that's how it works.
I watched Karate Kid, so yeah, I'm done.
Oh, you know all about it. Or it's like, well, you were a cyclist. You still cycle,
yes,
right?
I still do. Yeah.
But you have both testicles.
That's why I was never as good as Lance, I guess. I don't know.
It's terrible. Like, you have to wonder, like, the synthetic testicle, if you're cycling, right, high speed, high competitiveness, forget about the blood doping, forget about the drugs in the system, your balls are crunching against each other up and down at a high rate of speed. I got to think having one ball that's synthetic just sliding around, and there's got to be an advantage on some level.
I could break this down. When I was in in college, I had my girlfriend's mom sending me articles about, cycling, about being in what is it? Not incompetent.
Incompetent? Yes.
No, there was that too. No, where you couldn't get it up or whatever it was, yeah. You're, oh God, it's never happened to me, so I don't even know the word. There you go. Impotent. That reminds me of the Friends things where they're like, anyway. And the difference on those studies, or you see those kind of things, are people, they're weekend warriors. They go out there, they don't know what they're doing. They're sitting on their bike wrong. They don't have the right seats. And that's the problem. I knew too many cyclists, including myself, that had kids. There was never a problem. So, but my balls are a little big, so there is a problem with that. So Lance may have an
interesting.
Advantage.
Did you have to get a special seat for that?
So if you look at racing seats, they're not very big, and they're actually cut out because you're just sitting on your seat bones. They're actually cut out in the middle, and it looks like very uncomfortable. But you'll do it for 6 hours to go, so it's not that big a deal.
That sounds horrible. Everything about that experience sounds terrible to me.
It does. And I'll tell you, if you just go and ride your bike right now with not having done that very much, your ass is going to hurt if you try to do it 2 days in a row. It's just the way it's painful. It's just your ass, your seat bones or whatever. But this sounds fascinating, I'm sure, to everybody.
This is what people tune in for. They tune in for the memes, and they tune in for conversations about getting your ass bones in the right shape. Because I try to do Peloton, man. If I haven't done it in a while, my ass bones kill me. I can't do it like more than 1 day in a row. It's brutal.
Well, that's what you have to do. You do it, you have to go back the next few days. It's like, a bad day in jail or two. And once you're through a week, you're good to go.
All right, good to know. Yeah. Well, perfect segue, people out there who are getting their ass bones mashed right now include Steven Crowder, who I know you just did a show on the Libertarian Podcast Review talking about Steven Crowder, but for those out there who don't know, Steven Crowder's going through a bit of a ringer. Not only are people leaving the show and talking about it, like Dave Landau talking about how Crowder's fucking over with contract stuff. And of course, we know that Crowder had this contract issue that became public. But now, on top of it all, the video is leaked of him, I don't know, just being a complete cocksucker to his very pregnant wife at the time. Right. And, berating her. I don't even know what he was talking about. He's sitting there smoking a cigar, berating her about taking the car. Do they only have one car? Why do you only have one car?
I broke all this down. First of all, I watched the video, and then just today, because he's a cringe guy for me, so I watched his show today, and he's on there. Did you see the whole Malice Landau thing?
I actually listened to that just today, like literally at the gym before we're talking.
So there's a portion there early on where Landau says he has a button that he pushes. It's basically a don't talk button. So if you go to my Twitter or one of my pages, I put out like a 1-minute video today because I'm watching it today. He has Brian Callen sitting on his chair where Dave usually is. And Brian's like making a joke with him. He literally looks over, he clicks a button, and then he talks and no one says a word.
Wow.
So I put that portion on with first Landau was talking and describing this. And then there's the Mr. Burns clicking a button with Homer. And then I put Crowder in there, and it blows me away because here he looks over and you could hear the button click. He looks and clicks it. He's such a piece of shit. But
what also reminds me, sorry, real quick, doesn't it remind you of in Orwell's 1984? You know, is Steven Crowder going to sit him down with every now host that co-hosts with him? How many lights are there? You know, and just zap them until there's so,
right.
you know, they have to agree that there's a certain number of lights. That's where I thought he was going to go with this mental training.
It's more like a Clockwork Orange, where they hold the eyes and they have to, you know, get. So look, with all this coming out, so watch the video of what I'd break him thing down, because his video with his wife, and by the way, hey, get some gloves on and feed the dogs.
Yeah, tell her to do the wifely duties, man. Fucking terrible.
I watched the video, and then Candace Owens and saying she's like, this is such a disturbing video, and I'm like, no, first of all, it's not. It's so out of context. He's a piece of shit. I grant you all that, but this is not an abusive video. We don't know. One car, and then someone's like, oh, look, he's like, you know, kind of like entrapment. I'm like, he told her to get an Uber. It's not like she could go. So we don't know what the situation is. By the way, I'm watching this, you know, I did it kind of from a family law perspective as I'm a family law attorney, and I've seen a lot of these type of videos, and they present, and if you get them in context, why is she so calm?
Right, yeah.
And he's so worked up. Something happened before that set this up. And then she's making little comments of like, oh, Steven, don't be
I love you so much. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, oh, she's playing for the camera. She's playing. And there's only one reason why she releases this. It's not going to matter in court. This isn't abuse. This isn't going to say he can't have kids or whatever. It's because she hates him. Mm-hmm. She hates him. And because if this ruins his ability to earn money, that could be a problem for her to get support. You know, we saw that with the Amber Heard and all that, right? Where he basically went after her. So it only means she hates him so much, she wants him to look like a piece of shit to everybody. And we already know. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, I mean, to your point about family law, it is amazing how often parents, especially after divorces, will go out of their way to make the other spouse look abusive, like sexual abusive. I mean, just despicable, underhanded stuff because they hate them so much. And yeah, try to ruin their lives. So yeah, to your point though, nothing about it's abusive. It is him being a dick for sure. Yeah. But to your point, it is interesting. When I was thinking the same thing when she's like, Steven, I love you, but you're abusive. You're like, okay, all right, Saint Hillary.
And by the way, what if she doesn't do anything? What if she just sits at home, watches Springer? Now he's dead, so she can't do that. And Steven's like, I just got this $125 million contract. I come home, you're eating bonbons. Walk the fucking dog. What's wrong?
Right, yeah.
That could be the situation, or he's just an outlandish prick. I don't know.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. If I was going to guess, like it's probably both. His stories always tends to be that way. Like he has everything coming out now tends to paint him as a bit of an asshole. I will say the one story I saw today, though, I give no credence to, is that he, you know, these bullshit stories that he exposed himself, like the New Yorker. He exposed himself to his staff. Okay, whatever. That could be, again, out of context. It could be him joking around. It could be, you know, any circumstance. Like, it's just like when Tucker Carlson had that video leak of him saying, oh, I bet her girlfriend's tasty or whatever it might be, and saying he hated somebody. Yummy. It's like, he's fucking around. Yeah, yummy. He's fucking around.
Well, let's say you, Mark, and Odermatt. Odie, right? I don't know the nickname. Sorry. Let's say all three of you were still, you had been to college, you're doing this podcast, but instead of living in your different areas, you all had a studio and you were doing stuff together. And then you're doing skits and you're changing costumes. You don't think you might be like showing your nuts to each other?
Of course.
Yes.
We were in a fraternity together. Yeah. Constantly, you get the turkey eyeball, you get the watch. Hey, what time is it? And the watch band's a guy's cock over his wrist. This is just par for the course, man.
Right. So I didn't see that as a problem at all. At all. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. But I will say it is something where is it going to cost him any viewers? No. It's just going to make the people that already don't like him, it's going to cement their opinion. It's not going to cost him any money. It's not going to cost him anything.
I unsubscribed.
Did you? I was never subscribed. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I don't really care that much about him. But
I've been watching him more lately just to get and one last thing, and then we can move on. But now he's got different people in those seats, right? The third chair, and Nick DiPaolo's come in.
Yeah, Nick DiPaolo. Nick DiPaolo is very funny, by the way. So that's why we're not going to work out.
Nick is great. And the problem I'm seeing is like Brian Callen today got the button and you're like, and Brian's okay. He's not super funny, but he's okay. But you notice when it's the real legit comedians over there, they don't laugh at all his jokes, but his cackling group of yes men on the show are just going off like a bunch of frat girls. It's worse than The View. And I'm just like, oh, he's not funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is humorous. So I don't know if the button he's clicking is a laugh thing for everyone.
It's like the applause sign lights up. Yeah.
Anyway,
well, it's good to see his writers didn't go on strike at least, right? They're standing
quit,
strong. Yeah. All right. So I had to hit on that. And then real quick, let's just talk about, this will be 5 minutes, but the SCOTUS thing going on where the left goes after Clarence Thomas, their favorite, prominent first of his kind black SCOTUS, who now is widely hated by the left. They go after him. They go after his wife, digging up what they claim are scandals, improprieties in, being treated to trips and then arguing or having, certain cases brought in front of him that had tangential things to do with one or the other, or with Gorsuch selling his property, a house that he was an investor in. Wasn't even his house. He was a 1/5 investor in, to the head of a law firm that has argued cases in front of the courts. These are alleged improprieties. But we also see, as soon as you do any modicum of digging, the left's doing the same shit. Sotomayor paid, $6 million and then had cases argue with books. So what are your thoughts as a lawyer? I mean, where do you fall on this? Is there anything here, or is it just predictable, stupid crap on both sides that everybody does?
Well, the great thing is ethics. So when you have to do your continuing education, the ethics part, is a real big thing, which is funny, right? That they're forcing this down the throat of attorneys. There's disclosure requirements for SCOTUS. And from what I can tell, they're not, I think Thomas and all these people are actually adhering to it. So I don't think much is going to come to it. Just on a side note, I was just in a day-long Spaces thing on Twitter over Hunter Biden. Okay, so he got, and this is this big Spaces thing. He's now being sued about a family law issue in Arkansas. So I came in there and I got a lot of expertise. So it was right up my alley, and we're talking about it. It was a bunch of MAGA people, super cool, but they are really, it's so their side. And like, well, this is going to, Hunter's a piece of shit. And if people will know, then maybe Biden's out of it. And I'm like, people, it's the same thing with Clinton, right? Or any of these guys. You're not going to win the world over by showing it's a scandal. Right. There are people dig in further, other people dig in further, and it doesn't do much at all. So that's what I'm seeing here. And it's really about who's in power that might drive them out or impeached one of these. I don't think we're going to see it. It would be interesting if we see an impeachment of a Supreme Court justice.
I'd say there's no way in hell anybody's getting impeached over this. And the Hunter thing is interesting, just to touch on it briefly, is that it does seem that, it seems a little shitty that they don't want anything to do with this kid. And Joe Biden's always talking about his six grandkids, when there's obviously 7. But at the same time, I don't know the relationship this ex-stripper has with Hunter. I doubt it's anything really that close. But and she also wants like $20,000 a month, which seems a little steep for childcare. But at the same time, I mean, what are the rest of the Biden family getting? How are the rest of those children living, right?
Yeah, so the interesting part there is, one, Biden can't remember probably the number of grandchildren he has on a daily basis. So I wouldn't give him a pass on that, at least. The 20,000, it just simply is determined off of his income, her income, and then percentage of time with the kid. And he has 0. He doesn't want anything to do with it. He didn't want anything to do with it. So there you go. And now he's filing for to modify, saying that he's a starving artist. Oh, yeah. Which is interesting that, the left is going to say that he was so talented, he had this job of making $1 million a month or whatever with Brisbane, and yet now he can't get a job. And it's like,
of course. And then his paintings were selling because they were so brilliant and so fantastic. And people bought them because of the talent, not because of the political connections as well.
Right.
It's all a sham.
And just what's going to come out of that is he resisted on this. They did a paternity test. It's his child. Now they had an agreement, 20,000, and now he's coming back to modify. If he would just make agreements with her and go away, that would be fine. But now all the discovery is out there, and they're going to find a lot of problems with him because he is, it's probably arrogant, a little hubris involved in this, thinking he can always get away with whatever. And I think this may be a big problem with that whole laptop. I mean, the judge said, you got to disclose who you sold those paintings to, as a matter of fact. So,
yeah, that's kind of the I guess, the intrigue of it. And I was reading an article saying that same thing, is that they're fighting tooth and nail not to disclose this income, not to turn over those papers. And yeah, that's what is confusing. Why fight it? If you had the agreement in place, is nobody advising him to just shut the fuck up and walk away?
I don't know if he got out of state or out of, I don't know. I don't know. He's paying his attorneys $850 an hour, and they're doing him a disservice. So, it's ethics.
All right. Well,
what are we here for? Memes.
We're gonna get into some memes. It's all right. Like I said, the memes go fast. We talk a little bit, and then we get into the memes. So I will start first. And this meme was sent to me from Jason, who is a listener of ours. I thought it was a little chuckle-worthy. So this is of course, mic drop moment. It is a tweet originally sent from Six Pack, but it says, "I no longer identify as a conspiracy theorist. From now on, I want you to refer to me as the dude who was right the entire time." And it's not the funniest, but it is so accurate in that literally every conspiracy theory has been proven correct. COVID, now what's going on with the Ukraine, Nord Stream. I mean, it's hard to name a conspiracy that hasn't come to fruition. Hunter Biden's laptop. I mean, I'm trying to think of one conspiracy that was mainstreamed that has not been proven to be true. Like, can you think of one at this point that has been completely off the rails false?
Still Dossier.
Well, that's true, but again, the conspiracy theorists were correct in that was created by Hillary.
Yeah. It depends what your conspiracy is, right?
Right. Yeah. The right-wing conspiracy theorists got that one correct in that it was all a sham from the DNC the whole time. So they still nailed that one too.
Comet Pizza. I mean,
Pizzagate.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's things in. It's hard to know what's true
without seeing what went on in Epstein's files. Hard to know.
Right.
That one, Epstein didn't kill himself. Even that one, there was somebody that just was on record. I'm trying to think who it was that knew Epstein.
Chomsky.
Yes, no, Chomsky, right? And he said that he didn't. I talked to him the 2 days before, and he said he was feeling great, and then he's dead.
Maybe it wasn't Chomsky.
No, that wasn't Chomsky. No, it wasn't Chomsky.
Said that he was at his place or something. I don't know who said he was feeling fine.
No, it wasn't Epstein. Hold on, Epstein 2 days before feeling fine. This just came out, and it was a prominent guy. Oh God, I just can't think. I can't find it. It was just something that popped up, but it was somebody prominent that was like, I just talked to him. I talked to him 2 years before. I know him. He was fine, and yet he ends up dead. And of course, also the conspiracy theory is now pretty much confirmed that he's been working with the CIA the whole time because we've got the meeting results from, I think it was Brennan meeting. Or no, it wasn't Brennan. It was one of the other guys. Met with him, had meetings on the books. It's amazing.
Crazy. It's great. And the gaslighting. I did an episode where I went back to I think it was 68, where CBS did their report. They did a 4-part series. And they went an hour each over the JFK assassination. So it's Walter Cronkite and these guys, and they gaslight you from start to finish. It's ridiculous that they try to go over it, and it's things like, they gave all this proof that no one saw him take a gun up to the 6th floor, and it's all this, and then they go, did he take the gun? Definitely. And I'm like, wait, I don't know how you get there. So, this is not new.
Yeah, no, definitely not. All right, what do you got for us? What's your first meme?
All right, well, let's see how I'll share the screen here.
So I forget, do you use StreamYard? You go to present at the bottom, share scrine, and then you should be able to click it, no problem. There you go.
Then you have to show it to the screen. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Why my wife left me, I don't know. I don't know why I'm on this with Steven Crowder, but there you go.
That's great. So, to describe the meme, it's Crowder. It's Crowder's famous meme where he's sitting at the table. Please change my mind. Except it says, "My wife left me. Please change her mind." Crowder leaning back. Good stuff.
And by the way, his video, when he first announced that, he's like, and hey, Texas, they let you just divorce someone without consent, and I'm like, well, yeah, because it's entrapment or it's false imprisonment, really what it is.
Right. Yeah.
Then today on this show, I don't know why I was watching this, but it was right around the same time he had the button for Kellen. He's like, he made some comment about you can't just hold a woman in your basement, and I'm like, man.
And especially if she's not cleaning up the basement like she's supposed to be doing.
Right.
He's like, Hillary, I'm getting sick of holding you down here. You haven't cleaned up any of the spider webs. Frankly, you're letting us all down. All right, here's my next one. This was I saw this from a friend of the show, Vanessa Chase, who I love. Very interesting gal. This is my favorite. I named the episode after it. It's got a picture of, it's two horses. One horse walks up. He's clearly got a railroad spike sticking out of his head and blood running down it. And the horse without the spike says, "Oh my God, you have a spike in your head." And the spiked head horse says, "I am unicorn." The other horse tells him, "You need to see a doctor." And then the unicorn says, "Haters gonna hate, unicorn's gonna unicorn." Of course, we all know what this is referring to.
Oh yeah.
In the ongoing trans debate. But I think it really it sums up things well. And it is very funny.
I was listening to your trans episode last night.
Thanks.
Fell asleep to it.
Oh, great.
Then,
well, I'm entertaining if nothing else.
Yeah, no.
Did you dream of trans? Did you dream of being in a VR body with a woman's sweet bouncing breast in front of you?
Look, it's tough to know if the dream was your show related or just another night for me.
Just another regular, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What were your thoughts? Real quick, 10-second version, or did you not finish it yet?
I hadn't finished it yet, but I did get to the part where you're basically saying, let's send him to VR jail. I think that's what I got out of this. Right? Just lock them up and they could live a life of the blue pill, I guess. So.
Yeah, exactly. Just dip them into the matrix and let them stay there.
I mean, none of this concerns me except for when you start bringing kids involved. Then it's just, it's so weird that it's even an issue.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, exactly right, man. And that's what it's. And actually, I have a meme at the end of this. My last meme has to do with that and kind of the trans genocide claims. That I don't know. I'm not going to play because it's too annoying. But I don't know if you saw the video of a trans woman. It's a woman who's definitely dressed as a man, and she goes up on the city council meeting and claims there's a trans genocide, and then just screams for a minute into the microphone at the top of her lungs. Horrible. So anyway, your meme, sir.
Okay, we'll go right along with this there, so you can share that.
All right, there we go. Describe it for the people.
It's Lenny from The Simpsons. He's doing the thing, days without an accident, probably at work, and it's 0, and it says days without a dude who thinks he's a chick.
And it's just 2 0. He's taking down a 0, putting up a 0, because there's always one of those days.
Right.
I love it. All right, my last one is again tying into this. This is from the New American Media shared the meme, but it's from @RickyLynn, whoever that might be, and I will share this one. So it is a back and forth. It's a quote. It says, "I'm gay. Okay, fine. I dress in drag. All right, fine. We have rights to get married. Okay. I go by he, she, they, toaster, muffin. Okay, fine. I'm going to dance inappropriately on kids and talk to them about irreversible surgeries to change their gender. No, I'm not okay with that. They're trying to murder us," which I think adequately sums up the conversation here. And, it's like I was talking about. I was just texting with my brother-in-law about this. This constant claim of trans genocide drives me up the fucking wall because, number one, there's zero evidence to show that's ever been the case. Even when you talk about murder rates, they are nowhere near. It's like, 4 people a year in a tiny portion of the population. So I guess you could argue in that specific population it might be higher, but it's overall unbelievably tiny. Unbelievably tiny. And I would say at this point, if anything, they are expanding their ranks. They're assimilating like the Borg. With all of the propaganda, with kids going in and converting, like they are, if anything, growing. How is there a genocide if your ranks are exponentially growing, by 400% year over year? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it reminds me, when I lived in Colorado in mid to late 90s through 2000, and Matthew Shepard was killed just a little bit north of that up in Wyoming, and that was a big deal. Remember, it was this gay hate that was really coming down. And if you do an investigation, conspiracy theory back on that one, it's not. Yeah. That's not why he was killed, though.
Was it? I didn't look that deep into it. I'm guessing, because this is a lot of the trans deaths too. It's usually somebody they know. It's usually a friend or a lover or something like that. It's not like some random murder that they're found in the street. They're usually found in a friend's apartment or their apartment, and they find out that it was somebody they knew that did it.
Well, I think he was strung up on the side of the road, something like that, on fence posts. I could get this wrong. This is just kind of a lot of murders confusing in my head. But I think it was dudes he had met at the bar that were, gay lover thing gone wrong. It wasn't.
Wait a minute. Was this wasn't the one that was in the big documentary case, right?
I don't know what case that is. This was it was 1998.
Okay.
It was one that then a bunch of legislation was passed after this. It was a big deal. And now it's well known that it just wasn't that, but everyone just, keeps, it's kind of, I don't know. It's,
yeah. Well, it's always a similar story. The media rushes to cover something, paint it one way, and then as soon as you dive in even remotely into the details, you find out the entire story falls apart. But at that point, nobody issues a retraction.
Too late.
Just push forward. Yeah, just push
Next
forward.
thing you know, you're getting sued for $1 billion for defamation on Sandy Hook.
Yeah,
No?
exactly.
No, that's not right. That's not what
I
happened.
mean, hell, at this point, I will take it as long as I can make enough money to get sued for that amount of money. I'll still run with it.
Right. Okay.
All right, buddy. What's your last meme?
I don't even know if this is a meme, but I'm going to do this anyway because this is this is maybe too small. Let's try this here. It's not even. I don't think it's going to work.
Let me see. We'll try it. Oh, it's just okay. It's just Toad telling us to fuck off. Excellent.
And then it says Toad left. Toad's in our. Let me get a different one here. Toad's in our group chat. I'm with him, and he leaves once or twice a week. And it's typically I save all the screenshots. They're like badges that I have now.
Toad is from just to give people context. If you're familiar with the Tower Gang podcast, Toad is a member of the Tower Gang podcast, and you can find him on there.
Yeah. So let me do this last one. We've been doing the trans stuff, but let's go a little racial on his here.
Yeah, sounds good. All right.
Do you want me to describe it? You got a black guy being interrogated here, and the white guy said he won't talk, and then the other interrogator says, "Put him on a movie."
Don't go in there. There was a joke that
put on a movie. That makes more
put
sense.
on a movie. Yeah, there's a put on a movie. Yeah, you get the black guy to talk. There was a joke that, and I'm gonna butcher it because I haven't told it in a while, but I was talking about how ironically Lincoln freed the slaves. But if one of them had been in the theater where he was shot to yell, "Don't go in there," he'd still be alive.
Right. Did you ever see Get Out?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Did you like it?
You know what? I didn't think it was transcendent in any way. I feel like I've seen movies that have the exact same plot. It was okay. I thought there were bits of it that were very stupid, and it was fine. I would give it a B at best. What about you?
I enjoyed it actually, and we just saw it not too long ago. And then I saw Nope, which is kind of the horror movie.
I thought that was terrible.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well.
Oh God, good thing you don't do a fucking film review podcast. Stick to podcast review podcast.
Right. Maybe this is why I like your podcast. Okay, so my wife and I went and watched in the theater Get Out. Okay, so the premise for people that don't know, it's a black guy dating a white girl, and they're basically just like doing some weird mind stuff. And anyway, it's not good for black people. It's not good for mixed race couples. Yeah. As we're leaving the theater, so I live in a pretty white little area here. I swear to God, there was like 3 couples that were black guys, white girls, and we're walking behind them. And my wife and I are just like, "Oh, this is awesome," because they all just seemed really uncomfortable.
Just looking side-eyed at the girl.
Right. So yeah, that's what we.
I have to voice this. The one thing that really pissed me off in Get Out. Why is there just a fucking cabinet full of the shit that the guy can find right there? That's gonna tell him what's going on in the middle of next to her bedroom.
Well, because you've got to drag the story along. You've got to explain it. I don't know. Good point.
Just terrible.
It's all
right.
Bad.
Well, anyway, Tyler, thank you for joining me on short notice today with John Odermatt off doing his wifely duties with his wife and being happy.
You said
and
duties.
Duty. So tell people again where they can find you, listen to you, all that good stuff.
Tyler Janke on Twitter, TYLERJANKE, and there's all my link stuff there. But LPR, just go LPR on Rumble, and you'll find my Libertarian Podcast review. We're doing a Kill podcast. It's like a Kill Tony knockoff. We're doing one Friday, the 5th, Cinco de Mayo, and it's all legal. Your favorite laws, your worst laws, the laws you wish that were in place or not. And then, yeah. So, Brian, by the way, you're on my list. You have to come be our special guest sometime.
Sure.
So maybe the next one. Okay.
Oh,
I did ask you before, but you had some Friday duties going on.
Yes, I did. No, I would love to come on Kill Pod. That's my thing, man. Sorry, hold on. We had one comment from M-Town Zach. I like Nope as well. It had the obligatory racial innuendos, but it was surprisingly interesting, atypical, and entertaining alien movie.
Yeah, take that.
No, it was terrible. It was fucking awful. I agree with you in every possible way. All right, that's it, guys. I'll talk to you later. Memes out!